How are we doing, everybody? Welcome along. It's Tuesday. It's February. Let's get watching some racing, shall we? Right then, so Infinity GT Manufacturers Series. I'm just going to do a little bit of a volume check, make sure you can hear me okay. So I'm just going to mute you, and I'll be back in just a second. That sounds okay to me. Tonight then, we'll go on track in a minute. You might be able to hear the cars whizzing around on track in the distance behind me, but I thought we'd just, while we've got a couple of minutes, just while they're setting the grid for the first race, we've got a couple of minutes just to have a look at where we are in terms of standings. So as you can see on the screen in front of you, following last week's eventful race at the Nürburgring, Tommy Concrete takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship, 131 points. 11 points ahead now of Hirokram. Hirokram's got to pull a result out tonight to stay in contention for this, really. So, yeah, it's all on Hirokram. Fabuka then holds P3, albeit quite a few points away. 25 points now away from Fabuki. Dark Clark, who I believe is missing tonight, I can't see him in the room. Dark Clark is there in 4th. Richie in the Subaru 5th. Toby is here, I've seen him in P6. Then we've got Bobby in the Lexus P7. P1 Don's here in the Chevrolet P8 for him. Total Rose P9. Neville is P10. Is he here? Yes, he is. One person who isn't here though, and he's still off with his horrendous man injury, his V show, and he's unfortunately might be out next week as well. He's slipped down to 11th. You can see the results on your screen there. Citroen now having a pretty commendable lead in the Manufacturers' Championship. You can see that represented by the blue graph bar on the right of the screen. 207 points against Lexus's 180. There's 27 points in it between the two rivaling manufacturers. Right then, so let me get you onto the track. We might as well see who's kicking about. So, Tokyo Expressway South inner loop tonight then. A track that gives you flashbacks of Baku in its nature. It's a track that does encourage good racing by its mixture of long straights and heavy braking zones. There are two really big braking zones here, down into the pit hairpin and then down into the hairpin that takes you on to the back straight almost, as it were. So plenty of opportunity for cars to make mistakes here, hit the wall, get damage. Also plenty of opportunity to save yourself some fuel and nurse your tyres if you are able to as well. Clarky, how you doing? From South America? Right, so that's why you're not here. Okay, fair enough. Well, rest assured, mate, England is cold, dark and miserable as always. So getting ready to get underway then with the sprint race. So we'll pause the music and we'll get on track. I will need to turn my keyboard on now. Oh, I'll have to do that in the race. Give me a sec. So this is a sprint race. This is set by the grid we had, not the grid, the finishing order from last week. So we've got Bobby then on pole, Infinity Graphics P2, LFC from P3, James Harden 4th. But a very short run down to turn 1, but then we do have a big straight after that, so it's all going to be about the slipstream here in Tokyo. So the cars at the front actually have a bit of a bad gig today. As you can see, P1 Don in the Chevrolet already making moves then on Infinity Graphics. Bobby is managing to escape away a little bit. That Lexus does have legs on it, but the Chevrolet here is going to be a car to watch. P1 Don in that V8 motor. They're all going to be slipstreaming their way up this. It's not really a straight, but it's going to be the first big braking zone these cars are going to encounter. Cold tyres, cold brakes. Who's got the largest gentleman sausage out of all of them? Infinity Dave actually has the largest sausage out of everybody as he slides one up the inside of the Chevrolet. Nearly takes Bobby as well. A little bit of door banging between these two, but so far so good in terms of keeping the noses clean. A little bit further back, we've got Mental Nev P10, Fat Pickles Bro 12, Total Rose is now slipped down to P13. Bobby though making a break for it as everyone else behind him just starts to battle away a little bit. Infinity Graphics in the Porsche and putting up a great fight. Then P1 Don slipped down to 5th with Toby up to 4th. It's starting to get a little bit feisty here, unfortunately, though, with a lot of cars banging away. And yet we've got a car off there. That was James Harben, I think, that's gone back. He's one of the Porsche drivers. We have clipped that. We can go back and have a look at that. James has got a little bit of damage on his car. Bobby's streaking away into the lead. LFC fan P2. Infinity Graphics still holding third. GTP Toby in the McLaren P4. Hirokram now is making his way through. He's up into third, is he? It's a lovely move by Hirokram though as he gets himself up. He's fighting away with Infinity Graphics now. The problem with this circuit is just walls. High speed and walls do not make for very good close combat racing, unfortunately. We just want to go back and see as we've got a moment of relative peace. What happened with James Harben then? He was battling away with P1 Don there. The contact happened in this tunnel. So Toby gets a snag. Yeah, it's just unfortunate contact really that P1 Don was almost directed onto James's back end, and that's how that all unfolded. So we've got this battle still raging on then. Hirokram still is up to P3 then, sorry. Tommy Concrete, the driver in the ascendancy as far as the championship's concerned, is down in P7. That Citroen a little bit more gutless than it would like to be here in the Group 3 category, but these Citroen drivers have absolutely rinsed this car as much as they possibly can though. But saying that, Tommy Concrete has an issue. He's backwards then into turn 2. Not sure what happened there for Tommy. There is another car ahead slowing. Wondered if that was P1 Don. Let's have a look what happened here with Toby. So we're coming up to braking zone now. Yeah, he does get clattered by the Citroen behind, so the Chevrolet behind him. And yeah, P1 Don, you can see there, did wait up. It looks like the Chevrolet driver just did get his braking wrong. It does happen. He waited up. You can't really say fairer than that, but unfortunately for Tommy, that's going to put him a little bit further down as Hirokram, his championship rival, then gets past LFC fan up to P2. LFC fan will want to do Tommy Concrete a favour here and put Hirokram under as much pressure as possible. That's indeed what he's trying to do, to stick the nose of that McLaren where it needs to be. And all's fair in love and war. It's good racing between these two. Hirokram's giving it back. The Lexus will have the legs on that McLaren, but the McLaren should be a little bit more nimble in the twisty bits. Oh, it's getting a little bit feisty. Keep it clean, boys, keep it clean. Meanwhile, sneaking under the radar then is Fabuki, who got himself up to P4 already. Got himself back through past GTP Toby. Then he got Mental Nev in the Mercedes, another silent assassin tonight. He's up to P6. Infinity Graphics P7 with Fat Pickles up to P8 now. He's having a good race as well. Total Rose 9th. He's recovered some places. James Harben and Richie fighting away for P10 honours with Tommy Concrete 12, 9.5 seconds off the lead with P1 Don, a full 13 seconds off the lead then. That Chevrolet won't be demonstrating its prowess tonight, but don't forget we do have the feature race coming up. The grid for all that is set by the results of this race, so yeah, P1 Don's given himself a lot of work to do, unfortunately, in that feature race, but we know he's a driver with fantastic ability, so if anyone can really do it, it's P1 Don. So GTP Toby gets himself back past Fabuki then. The two McLarens certainly making a good show of themselves. If you'd have asked me which cars tonight would have struggled, McLaren's may well have been up there. This circuit doesn't lend itself to that type of car. The big power cars will really come into their own here. I know we do have some twisties, yeah, I know that, but this circuit is dominated by straightaways, and at the moment it's one of the Lexuses, two of the Lexuses now that are streaking away with the leaders. Hirokram does retained that P2 position now as he was fighting away with LFC Fan. Just watching this battle then between Richie, Total Rose, Fat Pickles, James Harbin. Tommy Concrete is reeling himself up to the back of that. Do we see anyone making a move here? James is licked the stamp and sent it, I think, on that one, and he's he was in P11, got a really good one on Pickles, nice and late on the brakes. Just tidied that up. A couple of cars went wide, but James got that nice and tidied up. 2 cars in one there for James Harbin. Good overtake by the Porsche driver. Then he's up to P9. Let's go check back in with our leaders. Bobby 2.5 seconds ahead of LFC Fan now. He's fighting back against Hirokram. Hirokram's not managing to escape these guys. His compadre is going away into the distance, and as Hirokram does make a move up the inside, he's going to want to make life difficult for that McLaren as the McLaren does strike the wall. As we run up towards turn 2, Fabuki in the all-powerful Chevrolet is going to have the legs here on this Lexus. Hirokram just needs to make sure he's protecting that inside line, then you can guarantee LFC Fan is going to have a pop at him at some point in this lap. Yeah, I agree, Clarky, mate, I agree. But Don's not a dirty driver, mate. He'll have just got his braking wrong. But it is unlucky, though, because he's not going to be able to do too much in the next 8 minutes. It's giving him a bit of a hill to climb, unfortunately, in the next race, which nobody wants to see, but it does happen in racing. There's a couple of penalties getting picked up now, so this is picked up in the harbour section. The track limits there literally are separated by a painted line on the circuit. There are no physical barriers at that point. The temptation is to push the limits and the boundaries somewhat. And drivers will be falling foul of that. In this series, unlike the GTTCC we watched last night, this series these penalties have to be burned away within 2 laps. Fortunately, they do look to be going naturally over the course of a lap. So good news for these boys. James Harbin and the other Porsche then of Infinity Graphics. Infinity Graphics goes a little bit deep. That's a free position for James. He's up to P7. Great recovery then from James Harbin so far. Don't forget, it was pretty much he was at the back through lap 1. He's up to P7 already. He's now got a bit of a hill to climb though to get to Mental Nev. 4 seconds ahead in the Mercedes. The good news for James is Mental Nev's at the back of a train. And this train is all slipstreaming each other, so yeah, they might slow each other down, but at the same point they'll speed each other up on the straights. Hirokram notably hasn't escaped Fabuki's gaze, and you need about a second to be free of that slipstream. Bobby's not managing to break away without the toe. Hirokram is giving that slipstream to Fabuki. It's a decision for Hirokram as to how much he fights it, and he's defending it. And I'd say with the short race format, that's probably a wise move. If you just go on board here with Hirokram, you can see these painted lines on the tarmac, and this is where the penalties are getting picked up. Very easy to cut that one in particular, and Hirokram looks to have got away with that one. Certainly was on the limits of track limits there. That's why they call it limits, and not just make it up as you go along. James starting to fall back from Mental Nev. 4.5 seconds gap now. Will be coming under pressure from the train behind him. Just needs to hope they start fighting. Check in on Tommy Concrete, P10, fastest lap of the race, a 55.6 for Tommy. He'll want to make up as many positions out of this little pack as he possibly can. Getting Mental Nev is going to be a bit of an ass, so a P7 for Tom is the realistic aim. As LFC fans down here, for some reason, what's happened to him? Has he had some sort of issue? No, he was running there at the start of that straight, so don't know what happened to LFC fan. Hirokram and Fabuki still pretty much attached to each other's cars. They are catching Bobby as well. So last lap for Bobby was a 56.5, 56.4 for these chaps. It's Hirokram now. Now he's got his internet sorted, and presumably he's at home on his wheel and not in a dodgy Premier Inn. Flashing a light there from Fabuki. Not sure if he was particularly unhappy with something. Let's go and have a look. I saw anything. Maybe Fabuki's just saying hello to the cameras, who knows. Must have been it, because I didn't see any contact Fubuki maybe just showing up for the cameras there. Give us a flash, Fubuki, if you're watching or listening. About a 15-second delay on this, so we might not actually see that. And he'll be a bit too busy racing. As he goes for the move, they're not on Hirakram. Doesn't manage to get it working so far. Fubuki then in the V8 motor. Certainly have all the tools in his armoury to get a move made on Hirakram here. The problem these two have got is GTP Toby's catching them. Yeah, that's not a driver you want on your tail, unfortunately. Mental Nev then up to P5, got himself past LFC Fan. Tommy Concrete now through all this traffic. Didn't see that happen, we were too fixated on the Fubuki v Hirakram thing, but Tommy Concrete, that's it, you call Tommy Concrete now. Tommy Concrete is past. Oh, Toby's up through. What's going on here? Toby's, has he just fully sent it? I saw Toby in second suddenly. Let's go back and have a look at this. So it's coming up to the pit straight. Fubuki gets a little tap of the wall. That's going to give Toby actually backs out of it and just fully sends one down the inside. Does go a little bit deep on the apex. Fubuki gets the cutback. That does shove Hirakram down to P4 with a further 3 and a bit minutes remaining. Bobby's escaped a little bit from this pack. Fubuki P2, then Toby P3. Hirakram's Lexus should definitely have the legs to get the McLaren, but if the McLaren's clever with its track positioning, it can do something about this. A little bit of a wall tap as Hirakram gets himself ahead then of Toby. It's hard to take your eyes off this battle. I know there's stuff going on further down, but it's hard to take your eyes off this because they're swapping positions almost every corner. There's Toby yet again sends one down the inside, cuts back out to the racing line to get the optimum turning point for this series of corners. Hirakram then back up to P2, Fubuki with third, Toby fourth, but quite literally a couple of attempts, if not hundreds, separating these drivers at the moment. Mental Nev now right on the back of them, bringing LFC Fan along for the ride. Then they've got 3.5 seconds back to Tommy Concrete with maybe another lap after this one to go. It's hard to see Tommy Concrete being able to get back up to them, but we will see. Stranger things have definitely happened. James Harvard then on total rows now for P8 honours. James carrying a little bit of a penalty, no doubt he can dodge that one. Fat Picklesborough looks to have a really good drive here on Richie. As we see Toby then back up to P2 in the front. Again, I'm just really going to struggle to keep up with that. I have pressed a replay marker just in case there is anything interesting going on. I'll be honest, it just looks like the same thing that we've been watching for these though. Here we come down to P4 now. It's all going to come down to this very final lap, and you cannot, I repeat, you cannot predict this podium. Bobby's now getting caught by this pack, even though they're fighting like cat and dog. As they cross the line to start the final lap, then it's GTB Toby, a couple of attempts ahead of Fubuki, who in himself is just a tiny scrape of paint ahead of Hirakram. Mental Nev is also in the picture, as well as LFC Fan. So you've got any one of 6 cars that could finish on the podium here. This is probably going to be the closest race finish we've covered so far. We've got Tommy Concrete then P7. Total Rose is 8th at the moment, just ahead of James Harvard, who's got the slipstream, who's himself sucking along Richie. Then you got P1 Don in 11, just outside that tow with Fat Picklesborough in P12. He slipped down the order a little bit. Infinite Graphics then P13 as we come to start the final lap. But as we have seen in this P2 fight, I say P2 fight because Bobby has escaped away, but Bobby's also now significantly slower in terms of pace than the cars behind. And Bobby, I mean that with nothing but love, but they've took a second out of you and half a lap, so something's going on. Toby is it's going to be uber defensive then coming into this series of corners. Let's just jump on board with him and just see what he does. And Hirakram giving him a little bit of a push ahead. Hirakram, you might think, might go for the cutback. Toby right in the middle of the road here. We see LFC Fan going a little bit deep. Hirocom then what side by side with Toby. Toby's just going to try and cut his nose off as we come into the final series of corners then. But it's Bobby that's going to lead us into the final series of corners as we finish our 8th and final lap. It's looking like Toby might well just take this. It's going to be hard for Hirocom to make an overtake from this point onwards. The hairpin really was his last opportunity there. It's only really a short drag now to the start-finish line. Bobby's going to get there first though. RA Bobby wins the sprint race here at Tokyo. It is going to be Toby that takes second. Hirocom takes third. Mental Nev 4th for Fubuki in 5th. LFC Fan takes 6th with Tommy Concrete in 7th. Richie had sufficient suck to get 8th. Fat Pickles 9th. P1 Don 10th. Something bad happened to James Harbour then for him to get 11th. And last, obviously, Infinity Graphics for 12th and Toe Rose in the end there. Right down at the back in P13. Wow. I could not keep up with that one. Could not keep up with that. So that then, that's your race. That's your race 1 done. So what do you think of that? Yeah, I think there was a bit of contact in that one. I won't lie, which we did see, but I didn't see anything that made me think, oh, he's done that on purpose, you know. Even though I might not have said it, if that's the case. Yeah, that last lap though was all over the shop. That was some clean driving. Something tells me that was sarcastic potentially then from Alright, let me just get onto this and pause it, because otherwise it'll randomly play. Let's get this playlist going and then I can go for that. No bump drafting. Oh, I didn't know there was a rule. I didn't know that was a rule. That's interesting. So I'm something on my computer but I can't find. Oh, wrong keyboard. There we go, there's the app I need. Alright, so that should be updating now, which is good. Restart that. Yeah, there we go. Good stuff. Right. Can we calm down a bit? Yeah. I think that's the sprint race format talking though. Some dodgy driving at turn 1 a few times. Yeah, no, it's a fair point, and you're not the only one to make the observation, Clarky. The problem with that is that's going to have a genuine impact on the feature race. So a few out of position vehicles, I think. So now the drivers will be meeting with the teams. They'll be talking about strategy and what that means in terms of what that means in terms of tyre strat and fuel strat and everything else going into the feature race. Because of course what we've now got, it's a 40-minute race. Drivers will have the choice of 2 starting tyres. You've got a medium or a soft, I think. You can use the hard, but anyone that uses it is deemed an absolute psychopath and you never see it happen. Drivers have to make a pit stop at some point. You have to run the second compounder tyre for at least 3 laps. Drivers will probably need to take on fuel as well. The settings mean that you can't quite stretch a full tank to last the entire race, so short shifting and working with your teammate if you're anywhere near them are going to be very much the order of the day. Well, I've seen Toby being roughed up a bit. Yeah, but in fairness, Clarky, mate, I think everyone was. I think I've seen that Porsche of James Harben's was reshaped a few times. You know, I think the only car that didn't really get dinged about was Bobby, because he was up front. I think everyone got it to a degree, but yeah. This is the thing. It's the side effect of a track like that. You know, that wouldn't have happened. Simply wouldn't have happened at like a Maggiore or a Spa. Because you haven't got the crash physics bouncing you back. Which is exactly what happens at this track. But it can produce some really good bloody racing. That last lap was something to behold. It's absolutely stonking. Bloody adverts, honestly, I'm sick of adverts in this. I'm just going to pop back out, and this is why you low Fargo, you see. Because low Fargo doesn't have any adverts mid-roll. I'm not going to repeat that, what I've just seen pop up on my notifications, because it's in a private group. But there's some controversy. Tommy needs to go and lose some weight. Coming on a slash to get rid of it. So we'll see what race 2 brings. I do expect we'll have a little bit. It'll be a little bit calmer. I expect. I hope it'll be a little bit calmer. Good evening, Dave. How are you? Good evening, sir. Yeah, it's so good. I know you know, I'm not going to sit here and defend any potential rough driving, but it's hard to look at this track and go, it's never going to happen. Every single race I've had here, it's happened. To different degrees, of course, but it's happened. The problem with, I guess, this or the catalyst is that the drivers all know that they've got 15 minutes to determine their grid start positions for a longer race that means more in terms of points, so their priority is track position. No letting off on the back straight, please. Were people laying off? Didn't know that. So yeah, we're about to get underway then with the 40-minute race here. Hopefully a little bit more to think about in terms of strategy and everything else. Drivers now driving at night, so we'll get a little bit more scenery in terms of their headlights, and it'll be a little bit harder to spot the drivers, etc, etc, but I'm sure we'll do well. Most drivers then seem to be coming out on the medium compound type. Don't actually see anyone on the hard yet. So Clarky's top 4 prediction then is Hirokon, Fabuki, Tommy and Toby. They all had the pace. They all definitely had the pace. I think that's a pretty solid prediction, to be fair. Hard to look past Tommy Concrete though, isn't it? Even in that car. I mean, granted, I don't know what it's exactly like in its Group 3 stable, but it's a Citroen. How good can it be in a straight line against a Lexus? And a Chevy V8 and all that stuff, you know. But it is a game, I guess, so they might have bopped it to hell. Who knows? Maybe Nev will be close between them. Yeah, no, I agree. Nev had really good pace in the sprint. But again, it's how the in this one, it's going to be how they manage fuel. You know, I think fuel's going to be a a discerning factor in terms of how the race probably ends up playing out. If you can fuel save, stay in the train. If you fall out of that slipstream train, it's going to be hard to recover that, because you need to use then a little bit more fuel to stay on pace. And that's just going to lose you time in the pits. So, how you play that strategy. You now know the drivers that are going to be around you. So you sort of think to yourself, what's going to be my best option here? Right, now Fubuki went here. He's got the car for it, and he's got the skills to pay the bills. His problem's going to be his P5, I think, on the grid. So to have a reminder of the starting grid, ladies and gents, we could just have a look at the race results from last time. So it's going to be Bobby on pole, Toby P2, Huracan P3, Mental Lev 4, Fubuki 5th. Now, don't get too carried away with these, because we all saw in the sprint race that it's just a massive haul down to the big braking zone at turn 2. So realistically, a Fubuki could well be leading the race by turn 2. Very realistic. Get a grip in a Scooby. Don't know what you mean. Don't know if he's referring to me. I can't see how many people are watching me at the moment. It just doesn't tell me. It usually tells me like a little pop-up window, but at the moment I don't see any of that, so I have no idea. So I don't know how many people are watching. I know Clark is watching because he's commentating. Citroen GR3 is woeful on fuel. Right, okay. So 2-stop definitely dumps you out of a slipstream, doesn't it? So you want to be in a train and fuel saving and then nip them at the end. Yeah, the Scooby straight line, I can't remember being that great. You look at the cars we've got, and you have to look at that Chevrolet, don't you? The Merc to a degree is not too bad. Viper, you can hang with them. Of course, the Lexus. And it is a tower of power. It's a lot of that is acceleration though. Top ends, it is. It's not bad. It's not fantastic either. Using now my YouTube dashboard. I've done that one. I'm just going to try and use my YouTube dashboard just to see if that works any better. So here we go then. Feature race. Let me turn Lo-Fi Girl off. We don't need to be hearing her anymore. So feature race, Tokyo Expressway. The bright neon lights of Tokyo. I am going to turn those off. Going to make it harder to track the drivers, but it's going to be easier to watch, I think. Good luck, everybody. Oh, we've got a false start. That's the Citroen. That's Tommy. And one of the Dodgers has got blindsided by that false starting Citroen, though, and that's immediately going to cause issues. Bobby got a really bad start. Then Mental Nev already up into the lead of the race. Fubuki is still 5th. That's one of the ones we're watching. But here come. That's a really bad camera angle. Here come the boys. Toby then prime slipstream, but looking behind him we've got Huracan who's going to have just a pure overspeed coming down into turn 2. And does everyone get their braking tidied up right? Toby's going to try and hang it around the outside. That can work here. Mental Nev's just about going to get that one tidied up, but Toby giving himself every opportunity to get ahead. Huracan P3, Bobby 4, Fubuki is 5th. Then everyone needs to behave themselves coming through the tunnel for the first time. This is where all the carnage unfolded last time out. Everyone seems to be about side by side. We've got Total Rose down at the back, but that's because he was caught up in that incident at the start. So the end of this straight is a big braking zone. And it's just going to be, I'm just trying to see who's potentially just going to try and make moves here. I mean, it looks like Toby, I was going to say, is going to be the one. He's been really good on the brakes down here all night long. Does go deep this time. That's going to give Hirocom the opportunity to slide on up the inside. He does that indeed, but Mental Lev is fighting him all the way. Got to get a really good exit out of that corner. Fabuki then up to 4th now, past Bobby. Who else have we got as on the move? Got Tommy Concrete P11 then. Don't forget he false started. But at the moment, they're really behaving themselves at the moment. Not seeing any wall slamming or anything like that. We have got Fabuki. Oh, one of the Porsches there is its P1 Don that's trying to make a move past on Infinity Graphics. He's going to try and get that move made up the inside. Tommy Concrete then is just going to try and slipstream that Citroen, I think. But there we've got Fat Pickles broke the inside of Tommy. Tommy gathers it up quite nicely though. Sorry, I'm on board with James actually now. As we see, Tommy Concrete is actually buggered off into the distance, but at the front of the pack, it is him leading the race. Just ahead of Mental Lev, but GTP Toby got a really good break in again. His braking here is what's making the difference, Toby. Fabuki then P4, Bobby P5, as they were before. Richie just about hanging with these boys. LFC fan P7 then in the other McLaren. Could do with getting up there and helping out his teammate. Tommy Concrete P8, P1 Don, P9 Don at the moment. James Harbour P10, Infinity Graphics 11, Fat Pickles is 12th with Total Rose 13th. Total Rose has had a great lap 2 and is right on the back of the pack now. What we've got going on, it's Heracom then defending for all his might then against Mental Lev. Mental Lev's POV then as GTP Toby tries to slide one down the inside. The McLaren able just to get that made, and Mental Lev flashing lights then at GTP Toby. Didn't seem to like that move, I don't think. Let's actually go on board with Toby and have a look at what that looked like from his perspective. Seemed okay to me. You know, the gap's there. Perhaps turning into the apex, but I think that's okay. Personally, but hey, who am I? You know, some bloke talking over. I think that was an okay move. What else have we got going on? Richie actually is making overtakes here in the Subaru. He is now past Bobby, LFC fan P7. I'm just now looking through tyres. Infinite Graphics has taken the soft tyre on, the only driver to do so. Everyone else using the medium then. This is the expected strategy here. So run the medium, I think we're looking at what, 21 laps, looking at the time. Yeah, we'll get a 21st in, I think, if they're doing high 50s. So we'll be into at least lap 11 before these boys decide they want to come into the pits. Maybe earlier, actually, than on the mediums. Maybe lap 9 onwards is when the realistic pit window will open for some of these boys. They'll have had the data from this first sprint race as to how long their soft tyres will realistically last. It's quite a low deg circuit. Most of your time on this circuit is spent full throttle, just absolutely balls to the wall. Just going on board then with LFC fan is who I was looking at, but let's go back on board with the guys at the front of the pack. The top 3 starting to make a break now. It's Heracon P1, Toby P2 and Mental Lev in 3rd. A little bit of a train forming there elsewhere as Tommy Concrete's trying to make a move past. He's trying to make his way past LFC fan. Yeah, pretty much the entire field then separated by 6.5 seconds already. So between Heracon leading the race and Total Rose, who hit another car coming off the start-finish line because he was blindsided. Just 6 and a bit seconds between the entire pack. Just shows the power of the slipstream then between all these cars. As we can see, it's starting to separate a little bit in some areas. We can see Total Rose making a move here on Fat Pickles. Bro Pickles, I'm assuming, may have just hit a wall there. As he does so again. So it's going to be time soon to start watching fuel levels. As we can see, Toby and Mental Lev yet again going to battle. This will help Hirocom. This will also help Fubuki and Bobby, who need to keep on the back of these guys. It's going to be down to a case of who saves the most fuel. And that's going to be Hirocom's downside. He is punching a hole in the air for everybody else at the moment, so this Lexus hasn't got a slipstream from anyone else and will by default probably use a little bit more fuel than everybody else will. The likes of Toby, Mental Lev, etc. can fuel save behind each other. Toby's hit the wall. Not too sure what's happened there for Toby. Let's go back and have a look at that. So Toby was ahead. So now we're into the long straight. So Toby will have been given slipstream here to Mental Lev. Yeah, to be fair with that, I think that's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Mental Lev went for a gap, that gap closed before he could react to it, is how I'm viewing that one. Bobby's got a little bit of a penalty to burn off, and Tommy Concrete has caught right back up to this pack. So, Tommy then, our championship leader, P6 for him now, and he's just making leaps forward. He false started, don't forget, so the fact that he's in contention for this at this stage of the race is testament to his early pace. Clarky did say at the start though that he does definitely expect the Citroen to use a little bit more fuel. As he now makes moves. Toby, as Toby again falls off. Sorry, I wasn't looking at my screen then, I didn't see what happened to Toby. What did happen to Toby? Let me have a look. Just lost out, didn't he? Just lost out at all. Here he comes, starting just to stretch his legs a little bit now. 1.1 seconds is the gap between him and Fubuki. Mental Lev holding third at the moment, but is now the train driver. The man who's a bus driver in real life is driving a different type of locomotive tonight, and that's Mental Lev train, which is giving tow to Bobby and Tommy Concrete. Tommy then is going to be in a prime position now, an absolute prime position to pick up yet another place. Nice and tidy on the brakes. And gets it tidied up, yeah, lovely. That's a nice move there by Tommy, and up to P4 he goes. Toby just at the back of this little pack. LFC fan leading the next little train then, which consists of P1 Don. Just off that is James Harben. Richie currently P10. Unfortunately for Richie, has fallen from grace, but we kind of expected that of the Subaru. Infinity Graphics 11th, Total Rose is 12th. Monsieur Pickle down in P13. For the Mercedes driver, but he does love to save fuel, does Mr. Pickle. So come the pit stops, he might make up a few positions. Someone making up positions though is Tommy Concrete up to P3. Astounding drive from the Citroen driver so far, gets his way past the Lexus. Let's see how he did that. So coming down the start finish straight, starting lap number 6, just down the inside. Bobby didn't fight this, and Bobby's probably just going to slipstream straight back again. Indeed he is doing. Tommy though defending that one to the insides. Bobby's gone very deep. Massive accident for the Lexus driver, and unfortunately for Bobby, that's going to put him pretty far down the order. So Bobby, the pedal on the left is the one you need to be pressing, my friend. It was 90 metres before he broke, and he hit the wall though at 50 miles an hour. And I know Lexuses get Euro NCAP ratings of like 4 and 5 stars, but even that car should be a folded up chunk of metal by now. Fubuki then leads the race. Didn't miss that happening, but it's still very close to Hirocom, so I'm assuming these boys are just slipstreaming each other at the moment. I've had clarity from race control that bump drafting is not permitted, so you won't see any of that hopefully. Mental Nev still fighting away with Tommy Concrete. Very close between these two. GTP Toby and LFC fans, so the two McLarens now can just start to work together a little bit. I wouldn't expect, hopefully, to see these guys fight too much. Has happened before, unfortunately. They have been embroiled in battles before. The field is starting to spread a little bit now as we just flick through the cars. Bobby now down to P11. So that last lap for Bobby, a 2:02.9, so he lost 5 seconds, which in this race is good enough to put you pretty far back down the order. Bobby though will try and pick up a position here on Infinity Graphics. And a P11 to a P10 for Bobby. Manages to get the car stopped this time. And up he goes into P10. Fabuki is still the race leader. Fastest lap as well for him. 56.2 is the current fastest lap. Don't forget, most drivers on the medium or the hardest compound available. About half a tank of fuel on board that Citroen. Huracan might well just be quite content. If you're a Huracan, do you really give the car ahead that much of a headache, or do you just short shift while you're behind it? And you can hear the lift in there from Huracan. He's lifting off the throttle completely, coasting it round the corners. He's quite content being sat behind that at the moment. Tommy Concrete, as predicted, used a little bit more fuel, but honestly, Clark, it's not that noticeable. It's a couple of pixels on the screen, really, there that Tommy Concrete's used. He has been battling away with Mental Nev, though. Was himself a little bit of a penalty. The two McLarens doing a decent job, but they are getting caught then by P1 Don. Don't get me wrong, that V8 behind him is eating a little bit more fuel than the cars ahead. Richie doing the best job on fuel at the moment. Pickles, predictably, is also doing a decent job on his fuel. In terms of the pits then, so the mediums, how far do you want to take a set of softs? How far can you? The mediums have basically end nowhere. If you look at Infinity Graphics, the only car on the softs, that car's been going around there for 15 minutes and he still won't be noticing any difference on those tyres. So I think we will start to see some early stoppers here, potentially as early as like lap 8 or 9. We might see some come in just to see how powerful that undercut can be. That being said, if you're in a slipstream, you might not want to take that risk. So don't forget, this is going to be run on fuel as well. We're not at the halfway point of the race just yet. We've got another 5 minutes before we hit that, and all cars have used half a tank or more, I'd say. So they will need to take a splash of fuel on board to make sure they get to the end of the race. But most definitely going to be able to see some cars pit sooner rather than later, I believe. So the top two don't pit. Neither do any of the cars a little bit further back. So far, everyone is staying out. Everyone continues on for another lap then as Fabuki leads the way. 2.6 seconds is the gap between Huracan and Tommy Concrete. That is reducing. I won't lie, Tommy is gaining on them. A 56.4 for Tommy last time out. A really impressive lap, even with all these times he's hitting the wall. Pulling away now from Mental Nev. This is potentially a situation where, if you're the Citroen race engineers, do you pull your driver in early, get him onto that soft compounder tyre, just try and get an absolute solid outlap in. So maybe just see what the guys ahead do, see if they pit. Who knows? You might unlock a few extra seconds there. Yeah, Corvette's not great, is it? But yeah, that'll be why Huracan's probably just quite happy behind it, because he knows he'll just get it in the pits anyway. We do see a Corvette though going for a move on the McLaren, and that's P1 Don up to P6 then. Although saying that, LFC fan gets him straight back again. This is where, ladies and gents, this is where the strategy. Bobby's down to P12. He had a terrible lap 8. Some horrible scenario has happened to Bobby there, and he's all the way down. That's good news for you, Clarky, because that means he's not going to be picking up big points for manufacturer's title. Tommy Concrete's doing you proud at the moment, mate. He's P3, and as you can visibly see, doing a good job on his fuel. We do see Toby in the pits though, the first car to pit. I can hear we've also got a Dodge Viper in there as well. That's Total Rose. So Toby Total Rose is absolutely mullered from his fuel. So the pit lane here is basically a converted underpass, so not very glam, unfortunately. Kind of surprised Tommy didn't do that. Is he worried about his tyres? Is he worried about his fuel? Kind of surprised not to see him drop in, you know. Maybe he'll do it at the end of this lap. If I was in issues, I would have probably jumped in at the end of that lap, you know. But hey, he's a lot quicker than I am, so who am I to bloody judge? I'm just some nitwit who talks a lot. So, James Harbin's had a bit of a resurgence. He's up to P6 then. LFC fan unfortunately has had a little bit of a fall from race. This may be down to actually some of these cars pitting. So yeah, we have had Toby in the pits. That did bump everybody up. So an important lap now for Toby as he sets his first out lap. This will be the pace. So he was locking in the 57, the high 57s. So his times were starting to drop away on those mediums. Yeah, Tommy's not really suffering that bad in terms of fuel consumption. So leaders pit. Heracon has saved the most fuel out of all of them, with an extra 6 litres on top of Fubuki's tank. Depending on the refuel weight speed, that might just be enough to leapfrog him ahead when they come out. We will check on that. With the nature of the circuit, though, Fubuki may just go for that slipstream straight back again. We will see when they get released. Mental Nev, P1 Don, James Harbin, Richie, and Infinity Graphics all go out for another lap. So it is Hirocom then, just ahead of Fubuki. So Fubuki's gone full tank. So Fubuki's going attack mode in this race. He won't be short shifting. He won't be doing anything that isn't detrimental to his speed. But Hirocom has put just enough fuel in for his little Lexus to make it to the end. And soft tyres for him now, 4-second advantage over Fubuki. Yeah, he can still win it. 100% he can still win it. So Tommy Concrete then, he's also gone heavy on the fuel. It's a 35.0 for him. So he's about 7 seconds, 6.5 seconds off Hirocom's time at the moment. Not expecting either of these boys to hit traffic. Really not. P1 Don in the Chevrolet in 21 minutes has all but drained that tank. That tank we started with 100 litres, that's 50 bottles of Coke. Gone. Just drank it in 20 minutes. It's a thirsty boy. Mental Lev then, carrying on for another lap. Still doing mid 57, still doing good pace. Never an outsider, but I do fear that he's losing too much time on the mediums. The guys that are on the softs, if we just find Toby. Toby's last lap was a 56.8. We do know the soft tyres will get you into the 55s, I think. Maybe even faster for Buki then now. Still the fastest man on track actually, 56.2. That was a lap set on the medium compound tyres, so he in theory will just get even quicker now. We'll wait to see what the times are when they start coming in. Still got a couple of cars that haven't pitted. Mental Lev, Infinity Graphics. Heracram is your net leader of the race when those two do come in. But Mental Lev's an outsider for a podium, I reckon here. He's certainly not doing himself any harm. Does he pit now at the end of this? Sorry, well, the pit in, weirdly enough, is halfway through this lap, so... We'll see Tommy Concrete. Fastest man on track. First man into the 55. 55.4 for him. Absolutely eating into Fabuki's advantage. Fabuki's last lap was a 55.9, so he's not hanging around either. But half a second quicker than Tommy Concrete. By comparison, 55.8 for Heracram, but he does have the track position and the time ahead. Gonna be Clark. Unless Hero's massively under fuel. I actually think Heracram's alright on fuel. He might short shift a bit, but I think he's got enough looking at what his consumption rate was for race 1. So the Porsche then, after draining its tank in 23 minutes, is in the pits. So that's all drivers now having made a pit stop. I'm interested to see where Mental Nev does come out of the pits. He's having those tyres changed now. It'll put a little bit of fuel in that, enough to make it 15 minutes. Heracram is going to go ahead. So is Fabuki. And we should see Mental Nev out just behind Tommy Concrete. Yes, he does. That keeps him ahead of Toby. Although Toby, I fear, will probably get past him. Toby's tyres are up his temperature. He's in the groove. He knows his grip on his soft. So we might well see a battle between these two yet for that P4. Toby will want to get in there just so we can be a gunner for Tommy Concrete potentially. Toby's going to slip one up the inside. So Mental Nev let that happen, to be fair. Tommy Concrete still fastest man on track. Heracram actually dipped back into the 56s that lap round, so the gap is reducing. These boys are catching Mr. Heracram. It's going to be a case now for Tommy as he tries to put off the Chevrolet. It's going to be a case for Tommy just to how much of a fight he ends up getting in with Fabuki, because if he can get past him quickly, getting Heracram is not out of the question. The dream is on, Clarky, the dream is on. Let's have a look at whether we can do it down at the hairpin. It's been a favourite overtaking spot for all these drivers tonight. He's going to have a pop. Gets that move made. Do these boys fight, or do they work together to catch Heracram? That is the question. But if they work together, they'll get him. I'm confident of that. They've got 15 minutes to settle this. They don't have to do it now, because they'll just end up fighting. They're both intelligent racers. It could happen. 4 seconds is the gap. We'll check back with them. Toby then, still ahead of Mental Nev. Half a second in that one. Mental Nev will get some slipstream on him, so we might see that order change just yet. Richie in the slow in a straight line Subaru is doing a fine job. P6 for Richie then, ahead of James Harbin in the Porsche. P7, fastest lap of the race for him, a 56.7 for the Porsche. will now start to just get his tyres into the correct working window. P1 Don, in that very first Chevrolet P8 for him, 56.3 last time round. He's ahead of LFC Fan, 56.4 for him last time round. So he's all these guys have got tyres in optimum windows now. Total Rose P10. Pickles in P11, having a little bit of a fight with Bobby. Bobby's got a little bit of a penalty, he's just going to burn away there with Infinity Graphics P13, and now on the medium slowest compound tyre. I reckon Fabuki should let him through and slip him. Yeah, and you know what? I think that's apt. That's exactly what these boys are doing. They're I don't think they're fighting. And it would make sense to do that. You sort of have a gentleman's agreement in these things, don't you? Where you just say, we'll slipstream each other, but last few laps, gloves come off and we have a fight. If we haven't caught Huracan by then. They've took half a second out of him that lap. And it's only coming down as well. They're not bum drafting, because you can't do that. They're just slipstreaming each other, which you are allowed to do. So this section of the circuit, Fabuki will just stay put. I'd imagine he won't be close enough on the start-finish straight to make an overtake happen, but down the straight down towards turn 2, it's a little bit of contact with the wall there. That's going to drop him back. He's just about still in range. That Chevrolet does have the edge when it comes to straight line speed. So yeah, Fabuki then will just line himself up really. Saying that Tommy Concrete had an excellent turn 1 and it's just speeding away. But yeah, either way, those boys certainly not putting each other under any pressure. Someone who is under pressure though, GTP Toby under severe pressure then from Mental Nev. As we go down towards turn 2, Toby's going to try and switch him back, but Nev holds firm. Toby then going to try and hang it round the outside. Nev might just show him the door here. A little bit of contact then as they went through that complex of corners. I would sort of say they were side by side, so they both deserve racing room. So again, that's okay for me. Nev certainly doesn't seem displeased with it. He's just carrying on. Further back, we've still got Pickles and Bobby having a little bit of a fight. Again, these two might just be slipstreaming each other to get back into the fight ahead. Again, smart thing to do for these chaps. Tommy Concrete has dropped Fabuki out of his slipstream. Fabuki might need to spend a bit of fuel to get back into it. Tommy Concrete then, 2.5 seconds now behind Huracan, 10 minutes remain of the race. Huracan does have a small penalty to burn away, that should go naturally. Fastest lap of the race that time round for Huracan. I want to say he could be managing his fuel a little bit just to make sure he does get to the end of the race. Definitely short shifting that car. The reason I say that is that Lexus is definitely capable of a faster lap time than that, and Huracan is not wringing the neck of it, whereas Tommy Concrete is. Low mid 55 last 4 laps, so he's wringing every bit of performance he can out of that Citroen, and he's getting away from a Chevrolet Corvette that is one of the fastest straight line cars in the game. In GT3 class. A little bit of a shenanigans happening further back. We've got Richie, who looks like he was having a look on Mental Nev there. I'll just choose to go back and have a little bit of a look at that. So it was Mental Nev who got the overseat. It was Toby there. Look, Toby with the send down the inside. Richie, I wanted no part of that and just completely stayed out of it. Mental Nev though going back for the move on Toby. You reckon I'll get him 2 laps to go? Yeah, I think you might be on something there, looking at the times. Toby's going to try and just squeeze the room in. There's no room there though. Yeah, Toby has to probably sensibly back out of it. It did give him a little nudge, to be fair. I didn't think there was room for him there. It was a bit of a late gap. Did open up, but Mental Nev couldn't avoid turning in at that point. He kind of had to, so sensible of Toby to back out of that one. It has caused this little train to reform though, and has brought James Harben and P1 Don into this fight now. All these cars are on the soft compound tyre, so nobody's got an advantage. Check back in on the gap between the top two. That is 1.8 seconds and closing. 55.5 last time round for Tommy, 56.1 last time round for Hirocom. He's got 6 attempts out of him that time round. At his current rate of pace, he will catch him on lap 19. Because he'll be in the slipstream by lap 18. Or there or thereabouts. By that point, we should have about 3 minutes left of the race, which means about 1 or 2 laps. It's on for Tommy, he can definitely do it. So Mental Nev then starting to just escape this little pack now. Now Richie and Toby fighting away. Richie's cars are, as we see a little bit more slapping there. Self-induced, of course, that one by Richie. James Harben sneaks his way through. Total Rose also now past P1 Don. Oh, it's the other way around. And what have we got going on here down at the hairpin? Look like Toby might have gone a little bit deep. It's Richie trying to fight away James Harben, but James has got a good exit from the corner and the Porsche is just going to be able to drive past, I think. No, has to back out of that one. Didn't quite have enough pace in the car to get past the Subaru at that point. He's going to try and just live to fight another day. Meanwhile, this is all helping Mental Nev's case, who can now start to break away a little bit. GTP Toby, a little bit of a slap of the wall on the exit of the final corner. Slows him down just a little bit. James then, I think now to go for the move on Richie. We have got 6 minutes remaining. Let's have a check. So Tommy Concrete and Hirocom a second there or thereabouts. So my estimations were Tommy Concrete would be picking up slipstream by the time we get to this next straight in. He's just out of it, I think. That is a tantalisingly close gap. Just out of slipstream range at this point. Once he gets that, it's definitely not game over for Hirocom, but it's Hirocom's now got to just be careful of his fuel. He's at a quarter of a tank. No doubt that's what he's careful of. The saving grace for Hirocom is even if Tommy Concrete does get through, Fubuki's not exactly right behind him. He's got a 2-second gap back to Fubuki. He will want to win this, of course. He wants the points. This is still going off. This little fight between Richie. Oh, now we've got P1 Don involved as well. James is going to try and hang it around the outside. Richie keeps the inside line. P1 Don's going to try and hang on to the back of them. Total Rose gets a little bit wavy at the back there as well. Who's that near at the back? That's a McLaren. That's going to be LFC fan actually. No, because Toby's near the front of this pack. There's Toby. So, with 4 minutes to go. At 4 minutes to go, and I'm going to call myself somewhat prophetic. Tommy Concrete has caught Hirocom and is now past Hirocom. I dare say the Lexus is just being cautious of its fuel. Tommy's got a little bit more on board. can stretch the legs of that Citroen a little bit more, but Huracan will probably just play this cute now. I would fully expect the Lexus just to park itself behind the Citroen, save the fuel it needs to launch an attack in the closing lap. This battle, I would love to say it's simmered down, it really hasn't. P1 Don, Total Rose, LFC fan, all vying for position on circuit. They're all at the part of the circuit where they're going to slipstream each other now as well. I hope this is clean. What, this? It will be, mate. Yeah, it will be. I hope this is clean though, because this is a right battle that we've got going on. Total Rose has got a front row seat for this. James looks to have carried a lot of speed to him. I guess the car stopped. It's Richard that cooks it a little bit. James with a nice move up the inside then. The Porsche just about have... Richie's just about got a nose in there. He's not backing out. Some lovely driving here. This is some lovely driving on show by these boys. Absolutely no issues at all. Richie slips it through to P6. What are we going to have in terms of laps remaining then? So we're going to come on to the final lap, surely. Yeah, we are. Where's the start finish straight? It's here, isn't it? Yeah, this is it. It's dubious whether they'll get a 21st lap in. They will, I think. They'll get another one after this. No one really flashing away on fuel yet. Move, basically. You can just imagine him going, move all the way. So Richie gets a little bit sideways there. I think he got a little bit of a tap from the Dodge. Nothing that's unsettled him too much. GTP Toby's now escaped away from the front of this, and James Harmon now in P6, punching a hole in the air for everybody else. Battle for the lead, yeah. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it will. I actually don't think Huracan's gonna be able to launch much of an attack, you know. I can bet he'll time it. Who's that right at the back? Infinity Graphics, and he's on his mediums. He's just not been able to really do anything about it. That last lap was a 10-minute lap for him as well, so he's been parked in the pits for quite a while. So yeah, we're coming around to the last lap now. I think Huracan will deploy everything he possibly can, but it might not be enough for Tommy. Tommy's got some serious pace in him today. And a little bit more fuel to spare. Fabuki's got all the fuel to spare, so Fabuki's going to be pushing like crazy now. Mental Nev might have just sealed P4 up, GTP Toby P5, James P6. Looking at the time remaining just to see who we might not get through. I reckon everyone will get through, other than Infinity Graphics. We should see everyone finish this race. Bobby should even get through. Will he? No. Bobby's the first one to finish in P12. Unfortunate for Bobby. So James still leading ahead of P1 Don for the battle for P6. Tommy Concrete then still ahead of Huracan. We are now onto the back straight. If an overtake's going to happen, it's happening here. It's the braking zone at the end of this straight that it's going to happen. Huracan's still having to short shift a little bit to make sure he gets to the end. He is gaining on Tommy. The gap is 3.3 tenths of a second. If he's gonna do it, it's gonna have to be an absolute send. It's now 2 and a bit temp. Tommy does go defensive. Huracan fakes to the inside. He's gonna go for the switchback move. Tommy just parks his car on the apex there. It's going to be hard to see Huracan being able to make a move now. P1 Don has got past James, by the way. But James might well just try and get him straight back again. We will flip back up to the lead battle in just a second. I just want to see if anything unfolds from this. James in his ghosted state almost drives through him. Let's flip back up to the lead. As they round the final corner, it's Tommy Concrete with a phenomenal drive, an absolutely inspired drive there by the Citroen driver. P1 in the feature race, Hirapan P2, Fubuki rounds off your podium in P3. Then it's Mental Nev with frankly a superb drive there by Mental Nev to get P4. He had a lot of work to do for that one. Then it's GTP Toby in 5th, James Harman grabs 6th, and then they had a great drive for James, to be fair. Let's give him a round of applause. P1 Don P7, LFC Fan 8th, Totoro's 9th, Richie's 10th, and Fat Pickles Bro in 11th. That's your race, and what a race we had. I told you it produced great racing, didn't I? I told you. And yeah, it was clean. There was no shenanigans as well for the lead battle. So that's your lot at the moment. I just had an error message pop up on this. I just needed to rectify it. So let's get you Lo-Fi Girl. Let's get you up to date with Lo-Fi Girl. Messed up on fuel. Yeah, well, it looked like you had enough. It definitely looked like you had enough. He was on fumes, if anything. Literally fumes. So next week then, back in the Group 4 machinery. And we're off to Fuji. Off to Japan. We're staying in Japan, so drivers will have the short hop over to Fuji for the speedway. It doesn't say it's a short course, so I'm assuming it's the full one. Not that the short course is much shorter, it just cuts out a chicane. Ran out 50 metres before the lines. Oh yeah, it actually ran out, did it? Jesus. So that's going to score really good points for Tommy Concrete in the championship. That's good damage limitation in Clarkie's absence as well for the Manufacturers' Championship, because Bobby didn't have a great race tonight. I think Heracon did all he could. A slight mistake in the pits, but you know what? That's racing. It happens. Had to save a lap of fuel in 5 laps. Well, that explains the pace difference, to be fair, doesn't it? So that result might slip you, Clarkie, a position down the order. Just on the basis that Richie didn't actually have that bad of a race. Yeah, James did a grand job. Absolutely grand job from James, that Porsche. James, don't forget, he's 15th in the Drivers' Championship. Yeah, they had a manufacturer change, but they didn't do great at the Nürburgring. Actually, James didn't do bad at the Nürburgring, to be fair. No worries, Nev. No worries, James. No worries, Tommy. No worries, Pickles. No worries, Faruqi. Glad you enjoy it. Tune in next week for more shenanigans. We'll be live from Fuji. 9 o'clock next Tuesday. Be there, be square. No worries, Bobby. Yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves. Avoid the Rona, and take care of yourselves. See you in a bit.